Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's John Tell. Welcome back to Leon Black, y'all. It's John Tell, your kinfolk with the info. Now streaming live on Wave Crave Radio, the hottest urban wave in the 717, playing the best hip-hop, R&B, soul, gospel, interviews, and current waves. You can catch live anytime on all streaming services, but you can also listen from anywhere in the world. Available on Facebook, Instagram, Google Play. Just search Wave Crave, one word, Wave Crave. We're also streaming to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and on all the Leon Block platforms. So follow, like, subscribe to us, y'all. Really appreciate it. We're also on TikTok and Instagram too. So make sure y'all check us out. Come show us some love. You know what I mean? We got a packed show going on for y'all tonight, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the media. I'm generally skeptical of, them creating some kind of distraction, but right now a lot of these topics are topics that we need to touch on. They are hot topics, and so it's something that we really need to get into, and we will right after this. What's up? And we're back. So this first article is about the Groveland Four. Black men exonerated after being wrongly accused in 1949. That's pretty big. So the families of the Groveland Four got some closure Monday after Florida officially cleared, that's today, or this past day right now, where I am, just so y'all know, it is midnight on the dot. Eastern Standard Time here in Pennsylvania, where I am broadcasting from. So this happened earlier, yesterday at this point from where I am, after Florida officially cleared 4 young black men wrongly accused of raping a 17-year-old white girl in 1949, wrongfully accused. And circuit court judge granted the state's motion to posthumously dismiss the indictments of Ernest Thomas, Samuel Shepard, and vacated the convictions of Charles Greenlee and Walter Irvin in the case known as the Groveland Four. An emotional Carol Greenlee, the daughter of Charles Greenlee, in front of cameras in a press conference said that I would not hate, but I will love and embrace all of those who did not know at the time that my father was a caring and loving and compassionate person that did not rape anybody. I stand here today to say thank you. Again, in 1949, Greenlee, Irving, Shepard, and Thomas were accused of sexually assaulting Norma Paget in Groveland, Florida, about 30 miles west of Orlando. The group came to be called the Groveland Four, and the case was considered one of the greatest miscarriages of justice in the Jim Crow era Florida. And there were doubts about Paget's testimony from the start, but in the era of Jim Crow, a jury convicted the men without evidence of a crime. But here we are in 2021. What's really different?
What's really different? That was 72 years ago, and the families have been living with this and traveling with this journey, waiting for this day. But here we are today, and we got that little twit running around here, getting endorsements from, the Gun Owners Association of America and whatnot. So there's that. Be mindful of that. I think we should be mindful of what has changed and what change we still need to make. Malcolm X's daughter was found dead in her apartment. Malika Shabazz, daughter of Malcolm X, was found dead in her Brooklyn, New York home on Monday. The death does not appear suspicious, but this news comes as two men found guilty in Malcolm X's assassination are expected to have their convictions thrown out. Malcolm X was killed 57 years ago in the New York City neighborhood of Washington Heights. Shabazz has 6 daughters. Throw that link in the comments for y'all. How's everybody feeling tonight? How's everybody feeling? Remember, we're streaming live from Wave Crave Radio. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and get your fix in. Playing the latest and greatest of your hip hop, R&B, soul, gospel, you name it. Also, don't forget that we are streaming live to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. It's the Leon Block all day, every day. Don't you forget it. So we have more headlines to come. I want to check on the usual source for a second here. Ooh, already, yo. Okay, so they haven't even dropped today's for the 23rd yet, but Democracy Now! Has so many headlines going on right now. I gotta see if I can squeeze all this in her because, woo! All right, so the first one I'm seeing is an interview that Democracy Now! Did with Jacob Blake's dad and uncle on Rittenhouse's acquittal for vigilante justice or for vigilante killing. Ooh, this is big. This is big. So protests erupted nationwide after a jury in Kenosha, Wisconsin acquitted Kyle Rittenhouse on all 5 counts for fatally shooting 2 people and wounding a 3rd last year during protests sparked by the police shooting that left Jacob Blake paralyzed. Kyle Rittenhouse claimed he acted in self-defense when he killed Anthony Hubert and Joseph Rosenbaum with an AR-15 style rifle. The jury's decision was announced Friday afternoon after about 26 hours of deliberations. To discuss the significance of their verdict, Jacob Blake Sr. and Justin Blake, who's the father and uncle of Jacob Blake, who protested outside of the trial of Rittenhouse every day, spoke with Democracy Now! And let me get into what they were talking about. This is a tragedy and a slap in the face to all of the families that are involved. It made a mockery of the judicial system, said Justin Blake. The system of justice works if I look like Kyle Rittenhouse. It does not work if I look like Jacob Blake, says Jacob Blake Sr. The Blakes say their family had predicted a not guilty outcome, and Jacob Blake Sr. also responds to the Biden administration's decision to not seek federal charges against the police officer who shot his son. Yo, for y'all gotta check the rest of that article out on Democracy Now! Because it's pretty deep. I am tempted to go on YouTube and play some of what they say for y'all right now, because I really think we should listen to this for real, for real. Let me see if I can find it. In the meantime, make sure y'all are liking, following, subscribing, sharing to the Leon Block on all platforms. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and also we are streaming live from Wave Crave Radio. Don't forget, the system is broken. The system is broken. See if I can find it. Yes, here we go.
Protests have taken place across the country after a jury in Kenosha, Wisconsin found Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty on all 5 charges, including intentional homicide. Rittenhouse was on trial for fatally shooting 2 people and wounding a third last year during racial justice protests that began after police in Kenosha shot and paralyzed Jacob Blake. Kyle Rittenhouse, who was 17 at the time, claimed he acted in self-defense when he fatally shot Anthony Huber and Joseph Rosenbaum with an AR-15 style rifle.
The first count of the information, Joseph Rosenbaum. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the second count of the information, Richard McGinnis, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the third count of the information, unknown male, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Grosskreutz, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
Members of the jury, are these your unanimous verdicts? Is there anyone who does not agree with the verdicts as read? We wish the jury poll.
In a statement, the parents of Anthony Huber, one of the protesters killed by Rittenhouse, said they were heartbroken and angry, and that the verdict, quote, sends the unacceptable message that armed civilians can show up in any town, incite violence, then use the danger they've created to justify shooting people in the street. The jury's decision in the Kyle Rittenhouse case was widely decried by racial justice activists and many politicians. NAACP President Derek Johnson tweeted, "The verdict in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial is a reminder of the treacherous role that white supremacy and privilege play within our justice system." California Governor Gavin Newsom tweeted, "America today, you can break the law, carry around weapons built for a military, shoot and kill people, and get away with it. That's the message we've just sent to armed vigilantes across the nation," California's governor said. Many right-wing politicians have hailed Kyle Rittenhouse as a hero.
Let's see Republican
The verdict is a product of what I described to you the first time we spoke, the 2 systems of justice. The system of justice works if I look like Kyle Rittenhouse, does not work if I look like Jacob Blake. The Families United organized all over the United States. And because of demographics, my brother, who is locally located in Wisconsin, took on the courthouse of Kyle Rittenhouse. I was in North Carolina with Cameron Lamb's family. Jolly Be Good was in Oklahoma with Julius Jones. We have another group that's going down.
Shout out to Julius Jones,
Georgia.
y'all.
So we understood what was going to happen in Wisconsin. So we understood what my brother's responsibility was going to be. And he took on that responsibility, and we got a victory in Kansas City, which we should be talking about more in the national news. Kansas City was momentous.
That conviction in a moment.
Yeah, I want to hear about that. I didn't know anything about that.
Conviction of a white police officer for killing an African-American man.
147 years for killing Cameron Lamb. So we, as a group, have been all over the United States, standing with these families because of what we went through in Kenosha.
Word.
So understanding that systematic racism is prevalent.
Yep.
We understood.
Have you talked to your son, Jacob? And
Yes.
What is his response to the verdict?
Jacob can speak for himself, and when he decides to come out and speak about it, he will speak on it.
Right.
How is he doing, Jacob?
He, from the time we spoke the first time, he's doing much better. He's doing much better. And we're praying every day that he will be able to walk again.
Word.
Justin Blake, you stood outside that courthouse every day. Yesterday, you led the protest. You were there along with the fiance of Joseph Rosenbaum, who was one of the two men.
That's what I'm saying.
Rittenhouse
Unity, community.
Killed that day. Talk about the significance of this verdict.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having us. This is a tragedy and a slap in the face to all the families that are involved. It made a mockery of the judicial system.
Mm-hmm.
It just broke the whole city and shattered in many, many pieces, not just through racial divides, but we work in organization through LOC, Leaders of Kenosha, has helped the Blake family throw over 80 events since we've been in Wisconsin and in Kenosha. This family, we were trying to support so they could focus on their families and what was going on in the courtroom. It's devastated the city. That nobody can believe it at all. It certainly sets terrible precedents that we would have allowed for the gun charge to be thrown out, that a 17-year-old kid should be able to carry around a military-style weapon in the midst of chaos. Right prior to this young man hitting the scene, they were peacefully protesting in Civic Park until they were blasted with rubber bullets, gas, and other projectiles, which forced them from Civic Park on to Sheridan. Then they forced them into what was almost like an OK Corral thing with the militias. They forced them down away from the Civic Park where they were peacefully protesting into the masses of the militias. So it was a terrible cocktail, and it just ended up even worse with this young kid who looked like he was 13 years old with his hat turned backwards. You could see from the video he was way over his head. It was like a deer in the headlights, and it was just a cocktail that was gonna go wrong, and it did. It ended in the loss of life to the two young men who were supporting our nephew, Anthony and JoJo, and a severe injury of Gage.
We're going to speak with Anthony Huber's lawyer in our next segment. But in fact, your nephew, Jacob Blake, knew Anthony. Is that right? Anthony is well known as a skateboarder in Kenosha and was celebrated in the skateboard park recently.
For y'all, I'm going to cut that off, but definitely check out the rest of that interview, because that's some really good material. That's some really important information for everybody to hear. Definitely. That is, you could search that on YouTube, and that was The System is Broken, Jacob Blake's dad and uncle on Kyle Rittenhouse. You could search that from Democracy Now! Or you could just search The System is Broken, Democracy Now! It should come right up. Yo, tons of fucking stories coming up. Like, it's so much shit going on. I'm not even gonna get into every article, for real. I might even just read some of the headlines, because there's a lot of stuff that I really do want to talk about as well. Like, for one, the Leon Block is now a year old, like officially, because it's a year and a day. It's after midnight. Yo, the Leon Block was formed on 11/22/20, and it was on the heels of like a culmination of not just all the events of 2020 and Black Lives Matter and all of that, but Also years of being called to find a way to deliver the word of real, of justice, of experience, of viewpoint, and I found it in the Leon Blocks, an independent media outlet covering everything from world events, social justice, civil rights, human rights. We support and amplify BIPOC businesses, self-sustainable agriculture, and spirituality. Anything mainstream media won't, we will. And if you want real, raw news, as we all want, we got to do it ourselves. Because being informed is important, and without information, without the true and real information, we're left in the dark, and we're left with the weak spot, and we're going to change that. You know what I mean? We're going to change that. Don't forget, we're listening to Wave Crave Radio, the hottest urban wave in the 717, playing the best hip-hop, R&B, soul, gospel interviews, and current waves. You can catch us live anytime on all streaming services. You can listen from anywhere in the world. Also, available on Facebook, Instagram, and Google Play. Just search Wave Crave Radio. Remember, that's one word, Wave Crave. We're also streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter through the Leon Block platform. So like and subscribe, y'all. Like and subscribe. We're also on TikTok and Instagram. Don't forget, come show us some love. So I have another story for y'all that is pretty, how should I say this? Maybe I should just say it. A serial rapist who pleaded guilty to sexually assaulting 4 teenagers avoids any jail time. Yeah, let me take a sip of my drink on this one. Yeah, so a New York man who pleaded guilty to sexual assault of 4 teenage girls will avoid prison after receiving an extraordinarily lenient sentence that's drawn international condemnation. His name's Chris Belter, who's now 20 years old, received 8 months probation and no jail time after he pleaded guilty to attempted first-degree sexual assault, third-degree rape, and 2 counts of second-degree sexual assault. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Yo. This is America with 3 Ks, yo. Yo. One survivor who was in the courtroom told Buffalo News Station she had to immediately run to the bathroom and throw up after Belter's sentencing last Tuesday. They said, I lost it. I didn't expect to be as emotional as I was, but I just broke down. I was shaking with anger. I was disgusted at the fact that this was even an option. 4 teenagers who were sexually assaulted were 15 and 16 years old. And Belter, who is white, is from a wealthy neighborhood near Niagara Falls. Yeah. What can I really say except this is America. Aye. White Missouri police detective found guilty in fatal shooting of a black man. Yo. So, a white Kansas City police detective was found guilty Friday of fatally shooting a black man outside of his home in December of 2019. Eric DeValkenaer was convicted on charges of second-degree involuntary manslaughter and armed criminal action for firing 2 rounds at 26-year-old Cameron Lamb, who was killed as he backed his truck into his garage. At the time, officers had no arrest warrant and no evidence of a crime. Lee Merritt, the defense attorney, said, "This is momentous. This is historic, and it means something. This needs to be national attention, y'all. This needs to be national attention. This really is a story that should be bigger than it should be on par with the Kyle Rittenhouse and McMichael Bryan trials, for real. This is going to mean something when you go back to Georgia. It's going to mean something for Ahmaud Arbery. It's going to mean something for Atiana Jefferson. It's going to mean something for so many families that have been impacted. Ronald Green in Illinois. These instances of justice within our system are far too rare. If you want to check out this article, make sure you go on to Democracy Now! More information on that. I'm sure no other news outlet besides us, small independent media outlets, are going to cover it, and Democracy Now! I'm sure y'all heard about this now, but an SUV plows through Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin, killing 5 people and wounding at least 40. I'm not going to get too much into that. Europe sees massive protests against COVID restrictions as cases surge. Wow, Sudan's prime minister reinstated as teenager killed in ongoing anti-coup protests. Wow. So, like I said, yo, around the world, there's a lot of stuff going on. Oh, wow, interesting. Back here in the U.S., Denver airport janitors win big wage increases after strike. That's dope. One of the things they won or was awarded was a $4 an hour pay increase over 3 years. So, for real, check that shit out. All right. There's something else I wanted to get into. Okay. I know that right now it's 25 minutes into the next day. But yesterday, on November 22nd, 2014, Tamir Rice, who was a 12-year-old black boy, was killed in Cleveland, Ohio, by Anthony Loman, a 26-year-old white police officer. Rice was carrying a replica toy gun, and Loman shot him almost immediately after arriving on the scene. 2 officers, Loman and 46-year-old Frank Garnbach, were responding to a police dispatch call regarding a male who had a gun. A male who had a gun, as if it was a grown-ass man. A caller reported that a male was pointing a pistol at random people. At the beginning of the call, and again in the middle, the person says that the pistol was probably fake, and that it was probably a juvenile. But this information was not relayed to officers on the initial dispatch. I don't know if you know. You could definitely check out the rest of the article. I'll post it in the comments. If you don't know about this story, the officers, of course, were acquitted. And the one officer is actually, as we actually know, is serving on a police force in another town. And here in America, this is all too common. It happens all the time, but most of the time we never hear about it. So shout out to Tamir Rice. Rest in peace, yo. Rest in peace, little man. And that was 7 years ago. He'd be 19 today. Just think about that for a second. Think about the life that he would have had somebody saw him for the kid playing that he was. For real. Yo, shout out to Ben Oakes, producer, local in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, doing his thing. He's been all over, from Cali to Philly, New York. He's done his thing all over. Really awesome producer, drummer. Like, he's really dope. Check him out. Shout out to Ben Oakes. And shout out to Wave Crave Radio. Y'all already know. I'm going to tell y'all, Wave Crave Radio is the hottest ever wave in the 717, playing the best hip-hop R&B. So you already know. Make sure that you are following, liking, subscribing to Wave Crave Radio on all streaming services, and the Leon Block on all streaming services. Come show us love. We really welcome it and appreciate it. Yo, shout out to my listeners in Germany and in Alaska and in Australia listening. Yo, it's really appreciated. Anybody that wants to reach out to the Leon Block and have anything to say, is there anything on your mind, you are always welcome to speak your mind. If you email us at theleonblock@gmail.com, I check my emails regularly. We're always welcome to a point of view. And you know what? If you email us, I'll send you a link and you can hop on at any time and we could talk about whatever's on your mind. The love is real, yo. I appreciate y'all. Oh. I don't know why that is. Wow. This is maybe like, yo, second, third time's a charm. I don't know. I don't want to jinx myself, but remember, you are listening to Wave Crave Radio live, coming at you, the Leon Block. Shout out to all of our listeners. We got listeners from all over the world tuning in. You can always hit up the Leon Block. You got anything you want to say, get off your chest. You can always email us. That's what I was going to say. Email us at theleonblock@gmail.com. And, you know, if you got anything you want to say, feel free to speak your mind. We here and we in the building. Remember, you can like and subscribe to the Leon Block and Wave Crave Radio on all social media platforms. We are here. And we love the love, yo. For real. All right. So, Democracy Now! I just gave you all of the headlines from Democracy Now! Just tune into it, get into it, because they're really the only ones that really are independent media, but they're somewhat on a world stage. They give you world news and they give it to you real. They don't sugarcoat nothing. All right. So definitely lock into that. Like, you know, this one story about the Denver airport janitors getting a big wage increase after their strike. That's the kind of stuff we love to hear about. That's the kind of stuff we love to support. And if you have stories like that, you know what I mean, even your experience of being in a union or fighting for your rights or being in a strike or anything. We got an interview coming up actually with two grandparents who their grandchild is being abused by the grandchild's parents, and the system is not helping them. The system ain't helping them, and they're having a hard time getting help and getting support, and they want their story out there so that someone can help them. So we'll probably have them on tomorrow night. Definitely stay tuned for that, because again, like I said, that's the kind of stuff that people need to hear, you know? Yeah, the life I live. I've been through a lot of things, I will tell you that. But one thing I love, and I learned this in therapy today, shout out to all my kinfolk, skinfolk, black and brown folk that go to therapy and have a black or brown therapist, because I think it's important. Make sure you're validating, analyzing yourself so that you can have growth, so that you can break these generational ties of this generational trauma that we have inside, and bring out the power and the authenticity and the realness of our magic that the ancestors have given us. you know? It's important to go through therapy and realize these things, but I just remembered today in therapy, like, to be kind to myself, and I wrote down a lot of positive things. Just remembering how far I've come as an individual. And, you know, I've talked about some of the stuff I've been through before. I know I'm very transparent. I've been through a lot of shit. But one thing I can say is that I've made a lot of mistakes. And making mistakes is the mistakes that you make, and how you learn from them is part of who you are. It makes who you are. And don't you forget that. I make mistakes all the time. And you know what? I love making those mistakes because I motherfucking learn from them. You know what I'm saying? So I did give you the headlines from Democracy Now! The links are in the comments on Facebook. YouTubers, you can go on Facebook and check out the links if you want to follow and read the rest of those news articles. Like I said, I got a lot of stuff I want to get into tonight, and not always a lot of time, you know? But, yo, so, real shit. 2 carry guns as protests march through Kenosha to protect Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. What? Y'all see this picture? Yo, shout out to my homies. Shout out to my Brody, just really being an awesome motherfucking dude. They know who they are. Also, shout out to Ben Oaks, awesome ass producer, who is just a really awesome ass person. You know, representing Cali, representing Philly, representing locally Lancaster, PA, Central PA, 717. You already know, on the grand stage, on the worldwide stage. So this article, I see 2 black folk. I see 2 kinfolk carrying guns. So what's this? A protest against the acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse. I hate saying his fucking name now because I'm tired of it. And I told you I was gonna steer away from touching on him, but this is big. Had security provided by a surprising duo. Several dozen people traced the route that Rittenhouse took when he shot and killed 2 people in August 2020. 2 of those participants were Eric and Jade Jordan, a father and daughter who carried rifles in the crowd of protesters. The duo acted as security forces against counter-protesters, some of whom were also armed. We just do security for different groups, they said. We're doing a favor for them. I'm curious here. Like, I don't know what side they on, but you know, like, hold on a second. Okay, so they was on our side, quote unquote. I don't look, whatever your viewpoint is, I'm just saying that for me personally, it's nice to see kinfolk with guns because it equals, there's no difference of a photo, of an image of a white person, a non-person of color with a rifle, and a person of color with a rifle. What is the difference? Nothing, except for the skin color. That's my point. I support equality and equity in all forms, and freedom of speech and freedom to bear arms, even though I personally don't like it, especially in today's day and age with all this madness and craziness going on. You got to be kidding me. Like, it's hard to find a firm position personally on this matter because I understand all sides of the matter. Speaking of, you can email the Leon Block at theleonblock@gmail.com if you do have any opinions or anything to say on that matter or any other matter. You can follow, like, subscribe, share to all social media platforms. We're on all of them: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. And if you're looking on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, you can see them down on the bottom of the screen. If you are listening in from around the world on Wave Crave Radio, just like, follow, share, and subscribe to any social media platform. Just search the Leon Block. You'll be able to find us. And remember, you can email us at theleonblock@gmail.com. On another article, media outlets keep botching the facts of the police shooting that sparked the Kenosha riots. So I'm not gonna read the whole entire article You know what I'm saying? I really just want to speak to what the article is about, and more so what it represents, because there's a lot of things that the media, the mainstream media, I should say, will misconstrue, paint a certain picture of. Like, we already know the narrative of them criminalizing black and brown folk to diminish their humanity. But one thing that people sometimes don't pay attention to, like, for example, the fact that Jacob Blake is alive. He's paralyzed, but he's alive. He wasn't shot and killed. He was shot. And that has changed a certain perspective on things, not to mention that's one example of mainstream media giving out false claims to paint a certain picture that they want you to believe. Keep that in mind. Y'all know I'm going to give it to you real. Y'all know I'm going to give it to you real. Oh, man, yo. Shout out to my listeners from all across the world. Yo, it's appreciated. Twitter. Yo, shout out to my Twitter listeners. And also, there was an episode that was streamed earlier on the Leon Block Twitter page about the critical race theory debate. You definitely want to check that out. And yo, I'm still happy the fact that we are a year old. Like, that's big. It really is big. All right, so there is something that's on my mind. I don't know what kind of music you listen to, but my musical palette is pretty eclectic. I'd like to think. Yeah, no, I'm pretty positive. Yeah, my musical palette is pretty eclectic. And I do pay attention to I pay close attention to trends when it comes to race, when it comes to promotion, trends, you know what I mean? And one thing I want to say is, do you all remember what the hell, drawing a blank here? Where's my notes? Do y'all remember Olivia? Yay, nay, maybe. Does it sound familiar? Olivia. Y'all might remember her from Love and Hip Hop, like the original seasons, Love and Hip Hop, New York. The one with like the Goldilocks hair, the orange hair, you know what I mean, with the chinky eyes and light skin. Yeah, she was light skinned, but she was an artist that came out with the what do you call it? The big blowout of J Records. Remember back in 2000, 2001, J Records was formed. It was a record label by Clive Davis, and I think it was Babyface or something like that. I gotta check that. Let me see here. J Records. Anyway, J Records was formed in 2000, and it was a private joint venture, yeah, between Clive Davis and I think somebody else, but wow. In September 2011, J Records alongside Jive, Arista, and LaFace Records were all absorbed by Sony, with its flagship label RCA bringing all of its artists to the RCA family. So J Records, Jive, Arista, LaFace, and Sony were all absorbed by RCA in 2011. That's crazy. And so yeah, Alicia Keys is the other artist I wanted to speak on, right? So Olivia and Alicia Keys. They both, at the time of 2001, were on the J Records label. And well, I want to paint a picture here and prove a point. Olivia, I think, was on the record label first and started making her album. Then they brought Alicia Keys in, and they were, maybe it was the other way around. I'm not sure. Don't quote me here, but they were both grooming both of them. But they groomed them two different ways. They groomed Olivia to be the bad girl, the street sweet, somewhat mean, dressed in all black kind of homegirl, right? And I want to see something here. I can find. Yes. All right. So there we go. There we go. Make sure you like and subscribe, y'all. Olivia. Sorry about that. So Olivia was like the street but sweet, you know what I mean? More so street that they really wanted to, but really she came from a gospel background, you know what I mean? Like singing church songs. She had a really big, powerful voice, but they didn't want to showcase her voice like that. They wanted to showcase the biracial girl's voice. Olivia could have had a really promising career, and they I feel like they stunted that. Also, like, I don't think that they really wanted to put and invest in any kind of thing for her in her career, simply because they just wanted to pin these two against each other in some way to create some kind of competition. You know, the two black girl thing, the street was sweet, but the strong but pop, you know what I'm saying, and not so street kind of thing. Like back in the day with Brandy and Monica, that was a thing. Monica would be Olivia in this instance, and Brandy would be Alicia Keys in this instance. This was the same thing, and Alicia Keys was kind of like the inverted example of Olivia. Alicia Keys, they made more of the gospel-y, in a sense, influenced soul, R&B kind of infused artist. And I'm not saying that that's an issue, but the thing is, what about Olivia? Olivia was that too. She could have been that as a black artist, but why would they? And I'm not, because Alicia Keys is black as well, but she's also biracial. She's also lighter skinned and therefore more palatable, quote unquote, palatable to the world stage, but more notably American market. So the labels thought at the time, you know what I'm saying? Because they were very critiqued. J Records was very much so like that too back in the day. And it's one of the reasons why, you know, the record labels, the mainstream record labels of the day have been so absorbed. What was that, 5 labels I just said? Into one label. And RCA is horrible. RCA ruins black people's careers today. Where Normani, do I need to say any more? Normani, where is my debut album? But fucking Camila Cabello can have 3 albums out? Is that 3 out? Whatever, fuck her. Like, I mean, not fuck Camila Cabello, but like, somebody likes her. I'm not a fan of Camila Cabello because I want to put my energy into Normani. Where's my Normani fans at? Yo, shout out to my Normani fans. Shout out to my chocolate skin girls. Now, like I said, Olivia was not on the dark side, but she's a black girl. She was doing her thing. She came from a really powerful urban soulful background, and they really wanted to kind of put that on the undertone of things, you know. So album did okay, but it didn't fare the same way. It didn't fare the same way that Alicia Keys album did, and Alicia Keys was thrust to the forefront. And because of all the promotion they threw into her album did extremely well. Not to say that she's a bad artist, because she's an amazing artist and she was an amazing singer in that heyday, but Olivia could have had the same promising career had they gave her the same equal opportunity as a Black artist. And this is something that they like to do, is pin the good girl against the bad girl. And that didn't necessarily work to their advantage, but they tried it, just like in the mid 90s with Brandy and Monica. In the 2000 era, that short little era between like 99 and 02, it was Alicia Keys and Olivia. But then you got other examples, like the new girl coming in and the old girl being on the label and working hard and getting things to a point to where it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Well, you had Nivea versus Sierra. You had Nicole Ray versus Lil Mo. You had Christina Milian versus J-Lo. You know what I'm saying? That was, all those artists was a thing. And I'll get into that tomorrow too, the other artists, because there's different stories, backstories behind those two, for real, for real. Make sure y'all are tuning in to all of the other platforms that the Leon Block is on. We post tons of material and content to Instagram, Facebook. YouTube has all the podcasts and videos. We do events, we go to marches, we go to protests. We film interviews. We do the thing. So if you want more of that content, make sure you follow, like, subscribe so that you can get the notifications. The love is appreciated. A shout out again to all the listeners around the world tuning in from Wave Crave Radio. Wave Crave Radio is the hottest ever wave in the 717, playing the best hip-hop, R&B, soul, gospel, interviews, and current waves. You can catch live anytime on all streaming services, but you can listen from anywhere in the world. As you know, it's available on Facebook, Instagram, and Google Play. Just search Wave Crave, one word, Wave Crave. Yo, it is always love. I know I gotta wrap up soon, but I just wanted to again remind y'all that 7 years ago, Tamir Rice was shot and killed. 12-year-old boy. Remember that the work is not anywhere near done. And don't think for a second, because Derek Chauvin is behind bars, that anything has been accomplished, because it hasn't. Do you see Kyle Rittenhouse roaming free and getting all these deals, going on Tucker Carlson, talking about he ain't racist, he supports Black Lives Matter? I support you. I digress. Yo, this has been a really good night. I really appreciate the love. Yo, for real, it's important y'all check out those articles. Read them when you get a chance. If you can't, at least go to Democracy Now! And listen to the YouTube videos, because they're really informative. They're really important to know about. Tell your friends, spread the word, know what's going on around the world. And if you're wondering, again, what the Leon Block is: world events, social justice, civil rights, human rights, BIPOC businesses, self-sustainable agriculture, spirituality, anything mainstream media won't give you. I really can't wait to talk more about the two versus things in the industry. I mean, today you even got a really popular streaming thing, Majigger. I don't know what it's called. I don't know where it's on, because I haven't actually watched it yet. Everyone talks about it. This thing called Versus. I don't know. I haven't watched it, listened to it yet, but they do have some good. I mean, competition is always good. but it's a black and brown themed show. But no, I'm not being picky here. Maybe I am being picky and I should shut the fuck up. I don't know. You tell me. If you want to tell me that I'm wrong and why, by all means, email me, theleonblock@gmail.com. I'm here and I am wanting to listen to you and hear what you got to say. Speaking of, I'm going to go check right now. See if anybody has hit me up. Yo, don't forget you're tuning in to Wave Crave Radio. The Leon Block streaming to Wave Crave Radio, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Do not forget. Oh, cool. Change my password. Gotta be protective. Yo, shout out to Kendra Crump, yo. ATL comedian doing her thing. Always appreciate that love. I have more articles that I am going to get into, so do not worry. Do not worry. And if you're listening through Wave Crave Radio, you can listen to the rest of my talk about the rest of these articles on 3 other streaming services live coming at you right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. But in the meantime, I do want to give you a little piece of something from another piece of something from the poet that I spoke about last night, Christopher J. Scarver, who, yes, is the killer of Jeffrey Dahmer, black man behind bars. And this is from the book of words and poetry called The Child Left Behind. And this poem is called Left Behind. America has millions of left behind children, locked behind bars, abused by prison guards. Once again, let that marinate, let that sit on your tongue. Feel all of the layers of what he's saying in that. Because, wow, that's really powerful, y'all. I think that's really powerful and it's really important. I want to remind y'all, thank you for tuning in. If you on Wave Crave Radio and you want to listen to the rest of the broadcast, you can always tune in. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, we go live. We are live now, but you can catch the rest of the podcast there. If you want Wave Crave Radio, remember it's the hottest urban wave in the 717, playing the best hip hop, R&B, soul, gospel interviews, and current waves. And you can catch us live anytime on all streaming services. And you can catch us anywhere in the world. Facebook, Instagram, and Google Play. Just search Wave Crave. Yo, I appreciate y'all. Really appreciate y'all. It's always love. It's John Tell, your kinfolk with the infolk. I'm going to be right back on all the other streaming services. Yo. I just want to tell y'all real quick, I love y'all. It's always love. It's always appreciated here. I just had to stop the music and tell y'all that real quick after that break, because we doing big things over here. We doing big things over here. Now, into some more articles real quick. Don't worry. Yo, this is interesting. Okay. If you want to keep listening, shout out to Wave Crave Radio. You can check it out still. Right now they got Bryson Tiller Don't playing. Definitely go ahead and listen. Like it's always a dope ass vibe. All right, so Colorado City Police Union boss suspended for calling diversity reform sexist and racist. The president of a police union in Aurora, Colorado has been suspended. Aurora, Colorado. Am I surprised? Over an email accusing police reforms of being racist and sexist and seeking to replace white men. The Aurora Police Department recently placed Officer Doug Wilkinson, head of the Aurora Police Association, on administrative leave after he sent an email blasting the recent diversity-focused police reforms last week. The APD had entered into an agreement with Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser, a Democrat, to commit to the reforms shortly before Wilkinson's email was sent to hundreds of APA members. The reform agreement came after a Weiser investigation uncovered issues of racially discriminatory policing and excessive use of force following the 2019 death of Elijah McClain. Diversity isn't defined or justified by them, Wilkinson wrote in the email. To match the diversity of the community, we can make sure to hire 10% illegal aliens, 50% weed smokers, 10% crackheads, and a few child molesters and murderers to round it out. You know, so we can make the department to look like the community. Wow. Wow, okay. Three white men charged in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery. Decision to attack because Arbery was a black man running down the street, not because he was a threat. Prosecutor Lynn Danikowski said Monday during closing arguments. Mr. Arbery was under attack, she told jurors, adding that the defendants were not justified in chasing and killing Arbery. Travis McMichael and Gregory McMichael and William Bryan are accused of pursuing Arbery in a separate pickup truck on February 23rd of last year. They shot Arbery close range, and Bryan filmed the encounter with his cell phone. So, I mean, they're all responsible and guilty. And yes, they chased him because he was black. All are charged with malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and criminal attempt to commit a felony, and they face up to life in prison if convicted. Let me know what you think. Are they going to get convicted? given what happened in Kenosha with the Rittenhouse verdict, what are your chances? What are the chances that they're going to get some kind of conviction? What do you think? Let me know. Hit me, email me up on leonblock@gmail.com. Hit me up in the comments. Send me a message to the Leon Block on Facebook and Leon Block Independent Media. Greatly appreciate it. We welcome all of your viewpoints. So shout us out and let us know. Black Lives Matter activists suggest Waukesha attack linked to Rittenhouse verdict. It sounds possible the revolution has started. Black Lives Matter activist Vaughn Mays suggested the Waukesha Christmas parade attack that I was talking about earlier on Sunday might be linked to retaliation for the Kyle Rittenhouse case verdict. Mays speculated, despite there being no evidence of a connection between the verdict and the attack, he arrived at the scene of the parade attack on Monday and addressed his audience on Facebook in a live stream video. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see because they do have somebody in custody. We may have to wait and see what they say about why this happened. But it sounds possible that the revolution has started in Wisconsin. It started with this Christmas parade. Yeah. Police arrested Darrell Brooks Jr. early Monday in connection with the parade attack. And Brooks has a criminal history that includes several felony cases and misdemeanors. Okay. Your point. Brooks has also discussed political issues, including Derek Chauvin. And he posted a picture of Chauvin to social media with the middle finger and the message, "Always remember this bitch ass motherfucking face." All right. Okay, well, revolution. Woo. Woo. Jeez. So here's one that's really, I guess I waited till the very, very end, but a Chipotle general manager and 4 of his employees quit after a surge of to-go orders drove them to their breaking points. At least 5 workers at a Chipotle in Austin, Texas, told Insider they quit on November 14th. The location's former general manager said the store was too understaffed to meet the demand for food orders. Chipotle said the Austin location was closed November 15th due to available labor, but reopened the following day. I think they meant to say due to unavailable labor. A group of 5 Chipotle employees, including a general manager and kitchen manager, quit their jobs at the end of the shifts after working under impossible conditions. A Chipotle veteran of 5 years and general manager for 6 months worked there and said the store was severely understaffed and they struggled just to keep their heads above water, with less and less support from management. He was regularly scheduled to work 80 hours a week, but often had to work additional hours to cover for employees who quit and left gaps in staffing. Chipotle stores operate with 2 food prep lines, one for customers who order on-site and another for digital orders. And some Chipotle workers had previously told Insider, the place that this article is coming from, that it's hard to keep up with the rapid rate at which digital orders stack up. Guerrero said that the constant pressure to serve so many orders at once made it seem like he was being set up by the company's leadership to fail. And he reached his breaking point on the 13th when digital orders were piling up while a line of customers stretched to the door. He said he didn't have enough workers to meet demand, so he closed the dining room to focus on only digital orders. He was in tears at the thought of facing the same pressure the next day when only one other person was scheduled to work. He had to close the dining room that day as well. And on that day, at the end of the shift, he quit. Wow. If you want to check out the rest of that article, you can go on the Facebook and check out the link there on the Facebook page. and read that. Also, racial bias in medical devices may have caused Black people to suffer disproportionately from COVID-19 in the UK. Facebook employees pushed company to exclude criticism of white people, men from hate speech rules. All right, so that I'm going to touch on in the morning, if I can, do a little AM drop real quick. And then I want to touch on this as well. Facebook's race-blind practices around hate speech came at the expense of Black users, new document shows. Definitely want to touch on that too. But for now, it's getting late, and we've been on for over an hour. I just want to remind y'all that I love y'all. And thank you for tuning in to the Leon Block. It's always appreciated. Shout out to Wave Crave Radio. Make sure you follow Wave Crave Radio. They playing Drake and Lil Wayne right now. So if you on that vibe, go ahead and follow that wave and tune in. But in the meantime, I really want to thank y'all for tuning in to the Leon Block. And make sure you meditate on your path, celebrate your being, liberate your spirit, and educate yourself. I'm John Tell. Arm yourself with knowledge and have a blessed journey.
Leon.